What's good, Wagering World? As always, broadcasted live from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. It's your boy Five Star in Vegas with my co-host, the only Sacramento Kings fan that I've ever met in my life, Spread Astaire. What's up, Spread? How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great, and the Kings are actually in the news, not because we're winning games, because we might make a trade, but hey, something's better than nothing. So doing pretty good out here in sunny Sacramento.
Sunny Sacramento, man, the Bay Area. You gotta love it, man. We had a great week last week. Hopefully, you guys tuned in for the show and were able to catch the winners that we gave out. We had an unblemished record last week, man, and we're gonna get to past, present, and future and kind of kick it and talk about what happened. You know, this segment we discussed the covers from the past weekend that everyone is talking about, the most talked about line from today's slate, and the future bet to keep your eyes on. Spread. Let's start with the past. What was the cover everyone was talking about?
Man, I told you guys we didn't need to expand these NFL playoffs. And the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Eagles showed. Now, we didn't get involved with Tampa Bay, but we did take advantage with the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. And I'll tell you what, Five Star, that's what we like in this industry. It was an easy cover, right? Sometimes, it comes down, you get a little bit of luck. There was no luck involved. You have one team that's a true Super Bowl contender, another team that a couple years ago would have been sitting home during the playoff weekend. And, of course, the Chiefs get it done. And then you gave out the San Francisco 49ers. We talked about really liking that matchup, and also how the NFC East, they kind of raise their stats playing each other when they go out of division. These teams aren't that good. Really close game at the end, but I'll tell you what, 49ers don't make a couple of mistakes, and let Trent Williams get set. Don't throw that interception. That game's not as close as it was during the end. So I thought the 49ers thoroughly dominated that game. I felt like we made two great picks, and what a way to start off our wild card weekend.
Yes, hopefully you guys were able to do as we always tell you to do at the end of the show when you follow the bottom parlay segment, and that's to bet each bet straight and to parlay them. If you did, you had a very nice weekend off of that combination alone. My guy Spread is just like he called it. It was a layup. Near the end of the game, I started actually thinking, man, Pittsburgh has a chance. Bill had said the little speech that he said about they didn't have a chance, but he actually was being honest. So great job, Spread, on giving out the Kansas City Chiefs. The Steelers were no match for them. And the Bills game, man. Oh my God, the Bills -4. We forgot about that one. That's the one that was really the best bet of the week.
Yeah.
and that was a fun bet for me, man. I hope you guys caught the Bills -4 as I gave out here, and I also gave out as well on 97.5 the bench. Thorough domination by the Bills, just like I spoke about on the live video shortly before the game. I already knew, man. Sean McDermott is up on Bill Belichick in his games. Bill Belichick is always highly exposed when he's unable to get the game behind the game, which is the little thing that he does to get an advantage, like getting, your game plan, what you're doing. That's how he's always been the best. He's always been the best at the game within the game. And I knew from the last matchup when they faced each other in New England, Sean McDermott had figured him out and said, okay, that first game, you got my playbook, buddy. You're not getting it anymore. And you saw he let loose. It was a complete switcheroo. Unbelievable job by McDermott and Leslie Frazier. As we said, they were going to show the Patriots that, hey, we're going to run this division and now runs through Buffalo. It was the perfect opening weekend for Buffalo, man. The fans had a great time. They broke 1,000,000 tables. Everybody, including the ladies, man. And it was a great day at Archer Park. They had a party just like we expected them because, as we said, New England wasn't that impressive all season offensively. They don't have a lot of weapons. That's why TB left and went to Tampa Bay, was because he didn't have anyone to throw the ball to, and they still don't have anyone to throw the ball to. Great running game. Then we got another for last week, we end up where injuries cost us. This week, they helped us a little bit with Isaiah Wynn being out for the Patriots. And that was a major loss right before the day before the game, man. We put them in at -4 by game time. It was 6, right? -6?
Yeah. And that line move was correct. I feel that he is worth those many points.
Oh, of course. Great left tackle, man. So hopefully he heals and gets better soon. But for our purposes, it was a good look for us for him to be out. As we said, the Bills are number 1 in the league in net yards per play. That's major, man, because if you can move up and down the field, you can score points. And as you see, they did. They have the highest point differential in the league, winning each game by 11 and a half points per game. They continued that. And like I said, they had so many factors going their way where I knew that was going to be one of the best bets we were going to catch all season. It was actually one of my bigger bets. The Niners was a small sweat at the end because of the turnover by Jimmy Garoppolo. But as you know, spread, we had the +3. So even if the
Yeah.
Cowboys would have scored, we were in a great position to still cover. So it pretty much was just a great weekend, man. We're going to try to keep this thing rolling. Now, let's get to where our feet are at now. Spread, what's the game everyone's talking about today?
Man, you talked about those Buffalo Bills, right? High-powered offense, but they're going against the most high-powered offense in the NFL over the past 3 years, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. Well, what a team! Of course, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill out there. This is going to be a great matchup. These teams met earlier in the season. The Bills got the better of them, right? But last year in the playoffs, the Chiefs got the better of the Bills. This is a budding rivalry, it seems, with two young quarterbacks that seem like they have years ahead of them, right? So we could be talking about this game, in playoffs down the line. But here we are right now. Boy, I talked to you about it. I lean the Chiefs here at 2.5. And 3 or 4 weeks ago, I would have really liked the Chiefs in this spot at this number. But when you see what you've seen from Buffalo as of late, it's really hard to go against this team. I do think it's pick the winner. I don't think that, if it stays less than 2.5, it's going to matter, right? So I wouldn't worry about the points here. It's just, who do you think is going to win? Right now, I lean the Chiefs, but I don't love it. How are you approaching this game?
I have to do a little bit more research, but off the top of my head, I would definitely think Bills. I feel like the Bills is a team that's on a mission right now. Spread them and the 49ers have been the most impressive teams the last couple of weeks in the NFL. They play with a ferocity and a hunger that you don't see a lot of teams play with. Kansas City is like a sleek Ferrari out there. It picks up speed. It looks beautiful, flashy, and red, but here comes the Bills. They're like a Toyota, pardon me, a Ford F-150 Raptor, fully loaded, built for any condition, but they can go the same speed as that Ferrari. You know what I mean? So I really like the Bills, man, a lot in this game. But the best bet to me, in my opinion, would be the over. And the reason why is because the way that I see this game playing out is that either one of these explosive offenses get ahead in the first half. They make a great run, maybe up at halftime, 31 to 14, 20, 27, 20, maybe even 17-14, something like that in the first half. So you want to definitely think about the first half over 27. That's what I would look at on this game. At the end, it's going to get tricky. They might be able to push, or maybe they're not. But I think someone's going to come out firing on either side. And I think 3 touchdowns won't be hard at all for one side to accomplish by itself in the first half. And that why I would like the over 27, most likely first half on this game. That would be what I would lean to on. But I can't wait to watch this game spread. And you guys, this isn't one of our official bets. We're more just discussing our leans on this with you guys. This week we're going to have 2 wagers, and that's going to be in the bottom parlay. We're just discussing this, so I don't want you guys to confuse when we're telling you guys about leans and we're telling you with our straight out picks on games. This is a lean. If we were to go on the game spread, we'll go with Chiefs -2.5, whereas I like more the Bills +2.5. But I think we both agree on the over, right? Spread on for the game, man, the first half.
Yes, we do. And you bring up a great point, right? And we put this game in this segment because as a fan, right? I mean, this is must-see TV. A lot of times these games that are must-see TV are there for a reason because it's really hard to call, right?
Yeah.
I think you make great points on both sides here. So, there's a time to bet and there's a time to just kick back and enjoy the National Football League. Right. I'll be fine having no action if I don't have any by the time the game kicks off because it's going to be such a great game. And I do agree with you there on the over. Also think that, there could be some variance in this game, right? A turnover we don't expect, right? I think whoever loses, they're going to be able to point to a particular play or a particular sequence in the game, right? Where it could have all gone different. I expect it to be a very close game, and I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, this is one of the ones, man. But you know how the NFL, it means not for long. It's a couple of these rivalries that we thought would be here for a while. I mean, we thought maybe it'll be Mahomes and Lamar Jackson against each other every year for a couple years, and then the injuries happen with Lamar. So with the NFL, like I say, it stands for not for long. But so let's just enjoy while it's here right now we have two quarterbacks that are in their prime and in their young prime too. At the top of their game, both of them are under 25. Man, I mean they haven't been beaten up yet enough. You know, they got their full skills on deck. They can run, they can throw the ball. You know, they're in shape. Everything's good right now. So let's really enjoy these two quarterbacks, man. They're on the top of their game. And like I said, this is a fan bet here, man. You guys put a little on the over, sit back and enjoy the game, enjoy the fireworks, because you best believe that both of these teams are going to be itching to go. Both these quarterbacks are not going to go away easy, and they're not going to accept defeat easy. They're going to fight for their teams, man, and they're going to fight to the end. So I expect a lot of points in this game. The weather looks like it's going to be absolutely perfect. A perfect Sunday evening game. It's the last game of the weekend Sunday. You know, the script's going to be amazing. So be prepared for a lot of fireworks once again when the Bills travel to see to face the Kansas City Chiefs, man, at Arrowhead. We look forward to it. And once again, guys, this is just a lean. Talk about this one as fans, but we do lean over on this game. Now, let's talk about the future, man. What do you like for your future bet right now, Spread?
All right, we're going to take it out of the NFL, and I'm going to go with the Australian Open. A player I've been really impressed with the 2021 season, and she started out great this season as well. Annette Kontaveit at 14-1 here to win the Australian Open. We know that Ash Barty and Naomi Osaka are the clear favorites, but they're going to meet early, right? They're going to play in the fourth round, and we'll see if Osaka even gets by the red-hot Amanda Anisimova in round 3, right? They have tougher paths. I've been really enjoying the way that Kontaveit plays. And, you know, if you watch the show every week, we're going to sound like broken records, but it's not just who do you think is going to win? No, we're looking at the numbers. At 14-1, I believe that Annette Kontaveit presents the best value on the board on the women's side for the Australian Open. And, hey, you know, if you like to stay up late and you like watching sports, the Australian Open is the event for you.
Yes, definitely. She's a great player. She's won a lot of big tournaments. Not afraid of anyone. I love that number spread. Anna Sabova, I like her for the upset, man. I think she pulls the
She
upset
might.
out tomorrow, man.
She looked pretty good against Belinda Bencic last night.
Yeah, I think she's going to swing the racket tomorrow. Mine is, man, we're going to double down on the 49ers to get to the Super Bowl, man. We already have them at plus 800. We got to double down to get to 450. Right now, the books still are respecting them. They have the best odds out of everyone to invest in, man, to get to the Super Bowl. They have the Bucks rated most likely to get to the Super Bowl in NFC, right along with the Packers, and then in between that the Rams, and then they have the Niners if they're the lowly Niners. Let's look at this team's past history with the teams that's left in the NFC that they're facing. Got a pretty good history with all of those teams. They beat the Packers the last 2 times they faced them in the playoffs. The Packers did win the last regular season matchup. It was a classic, though, with the Packers going up 17-0 at the beginning and 49ers roaring back to take the lead with Jimmy Garoppolo hitting a touchdown late in the game, like 30 seconds left. And then Aaron Rodgers was Aaron Rodgers. And Wynn made it happen, and they ended up winning with a field goal from Mason Crosby to win only by 2 points, not covering. So I expect the Niners to come in with no fear against the Packers. So I like their chances to win that game in Lambeau. And then if they win that game in Lambeau, I really like the Rams' chances to win in Tampa Bay. We saw what the Rams did earlier against Tampa Bay this year. Pretty dominant victory. They match up really well with them. The Bucks are missing big weapons on the outside. It's pretty much a hobbled Mike Evans along with a hobbled Gronk, because neither one of those guys are ever completely fully healthy. They're both gamers and show up big. Shout out Mike. Mike's a good guy, man. He's been around the shop that I used to have with my buddy Ash, 713 Motoring a lot. He's from right down the way in Houston, man. A lot of heart, good dude. But he's hobbled a lot. Mike Evans is hobbled a lot. So I'm sure he'll step up, but he just still doesn't have the burst that he usually has because of he's playing through injuries. Gronk's always playing through injuries. So with them missing Antonio Brown in the passing game, he means a lot, man. And they're going to need that firepower when they're dealing with the Rams with all the firepower they bring at the wideout position with the Player of the Year Cooper Kupp. OBJ's found his groove back and showing you why he's still number one. They got a great up-and-coming receiver in Van Jefferson. Cam Akers is back. the Rams are rolling right now. Sean McVay, very innovative. He'll have the team ready. So if the Rams pull off the upset like they very well, they're only a short 3, and it's a +3 -120 right now. So Vegas is telling you that game's going to the end. So let's just say the Rams upset the Bucks and the Niners upset the Packers. Now you got a Niners team that's 7-0.
Yeah.
The Rams in the last 7 matchups,
Mm-hmm.
and you're sitting on now plus 1250 to go to the Super Bowl. You're never going to get a better hedge moment than that, right? Spread. So
Exactly.
yeah, so we're on the Niners, man. We're going to double up on the Niners. Remember, guys, when we tell you about these futures bet, they're stock. You don't put your whole life savings in a stock. What you do is you put money in there that you can afford to invest, and you let the money grow. And that's what we're going to do right here. You always have hedge factors that can come in with spreads pick. If she can make it to the semifinals, you can start hedging. With the Niners, they win this week. Next week, you got an unbelievable hedge, no matter who they play. So double down on the Niners at plus 450, and my guy Spread has Kontaveit at plus 400, 1400. Excuse me, man. All right, man. Let's get to kick the damn extra point. This is the segment where we talk about a mistake by one of these head coaches that really affected the game and the spread on the game. We got to go to a guy who's one of the Hall of Famers of this segment. The segment was made for guys like this. Mike McCarthy, man. The Dallas coach, he's going to be questioned for his final play in the wild card loss to Frisco. He calls a draw for Dak Prescott with no timeout left. They get about 17 yards, I want to say, on it. I guess he was trying to set it up where they could take a better strike to this zone. But, of course, being the bumbling, stumbling Cowboys like they are, they don't get to the ball and they don't run another play. It never gets hiked. So do you blame Mike McCarthy or do you blame the referee's lack of athleticism?
Well, first of all, it's not the referee because Dak needs to handle the ball when he runs there. Dak probably should know with 14 seconds to go and no timeout, running is not an option, right? You're not Lamar Jackson there. You got 2 shots at the end zone with your arm. You're paid $40 million to throw the ball. Let's do it. But let's circle back to Mike McCarthy because there's nothing more than I love talking about this guy. I think it's pretty clear now watching him and the way that his career has gone. People say he's a Super Bowl champion. He's not a Super Bowl champion. Aaron Rodgers won that Super Bowl for him, right? And if Vince McMahon ran the NFL instead of Roger Goodell, Aaron Rodgers would have walked down at the end of that game, and Mark McCarthy would have just had to give him his ring because Aaron Rodgers won that ring. And you watch how rough it is for Aaron Rodgers. After seeing that, I go, yes, this guy probably could have won 2 or 3 Super Bowls if he would have had a legitimate coach this whole time. This guy is just bad, and I don't like really getting on coaches a lot, because I think there's a lot of stuff that goes into it that we don't see, accountability, practice times, right? The way you set up your practice, the way you develop players. It's not just in-game decisions, but I have no problem going against McCarthy. He's shown nothing to really prove that. And the only person I would say that has made worse decisions than Mike McCarthy is Jerry Jones and the Cowboys ownership for trusting him when they have this win now squad and they're ready to go. And they just messed up on that pick. And the NFL is a coach and quarterback league, and they just blew it, man. And I'm with you, man. McCarthy blew it. Dak kind of blew it. But this comes down to coaching. At the end of the day, you have to put the blame on Mike McCarthy's desk.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy, man. Everything that Aaron Rodgers said, that the reasons why he got him out of Green Bay, you're starting to see exactly what the Hall of Fame was talking about. Everyone was kind of saying, "Hey, what are you doing, man? Why are you trying to get this guy fired? It's like he's wasting my time,"
Mm-hmm.
And you see that right now. But as you said, it all circles back to Jerry Jones. God bless his soul. He's getting up there in age. Him and his son actually are great scouts. They have some of the best draft. Man, those guys can draft for Dallas. Everything that they draft turns out a hit, man. They're good in the draft room, but they're terrible in the things that matter. And that's, game management, game planning, discipline, penalties, defense. They're horrible at those things. And the reason why they're so bad that it starts up top, every franchise, you go back to them and they always go back to the head, to the CEO, everything. That's why the more successful franchises, you notice that it's always a plan. The GM can change, the coach can change, but the winning is going to always remain. and that's because how they handle the business up top. Jerry Jones made a horrible decision back when he fired Jimmy Johnson, and he's never going to recover from it. He's never going to recover from it. He's never going to win a championship before he leaves this earth, unfortunately, for him. And unless he hurry up and, which I can't see him doing, and hire the right person, because the only person that's going to work in Dallas is someone who doesn't listen to Jerry Jones. It's going to have to be someone like how Bill Parcells was making the moves, but at the time they didn't have the cap right. They didn't have the right players to get it done. If you remember, Romo fumbled that kick, holding the kick against Seattle. That was one of their better teams. And then they had the misfortune when they cheated them with Dez, my homeboy Dez. Shout out Dez Bryant, man. When Dez caught that touchdown inside of Lambeau, and they took it back for some rule saying he reached or something on the catch. Those were his two best opportunities. But he has to find a coach, man, that's not intertwined with the entertainment. When they told me Mike McCarthy spent the night at his house for an interview, I already knew it was trouble. Like, what grown man is standing in another grown man's house? Like, what the hell are you guys in here doing? You know what I mean? So, like, it's just a bunch of goofiness and entertainment, and he's making so much money. He probably doesn't care. He probably cares only so much on the surface because his pockets are always growing and inflating. And what the Cowboys got to be the most worth the most in the NFL, right?
They're probably, I don't quote me, it might be the Yankees, but I think they're the highest value franchise. I think they're the highest value franchise in all of sports. Name up there with like Manchester United and the New York Yankees.
Exactly. So that's my point. It's almost like a Stockholm syndrome for the Cowboys fans. It's like they just sit here and just know the same results are going to happen, while people like I just sit here and bet against it every year and know what's going to happen. And they just, I guess they're just pain freaks. They believe their team. The team hasn't won since my guy Eric Sims was on this earth. God bless his soul. And my guy left this earth, man, in 1997. He was a diehard Cowboys fan. We were high school football teammates, man. He loved Emmitt Smith. And then unfortunately passed early in our life, man, like in high school. And I remember he was talking so much noise to me because the Cowboys won. That's how long it's been, man. I lived the whole full life since then, and the Cowboys still haven't done anything. So I don't see them doing anything anytime soon, man, until Jerry Jones changed the philosophy. And it starts with getting rid of that coach, Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy kicked the damn extra point. All right, guys. Now it's time to bring on one of our regulars. We call him one of the Vegas homies, man. Where's old Spread at? There he is, the man that believes Joel Embiid has never committed a sin.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I mean,
from Philly.
That's to blindside me like that right off the bat. A, unfair. B, unfounded. No, I'm not going to let you railroad me like that right off the top here, all right? I'm sorry that Joel Embiid is incredible and that he makes a big, big difference, but we continue to surround him with guys who can't shoot and don't know what to do. I mean, sorry that the NBA forced us to have Brian Colangelo for 2 years, but let's not get into that.
What's up, Noops? How you doing today, man?
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, gentlemen. I'm happy to be on talking a little sports with you guys. How yous?
Always, man. Noops, what you got for us today, man? This is Noops segment. He always brings the heat, man. He brings us all types of stuff, whether it's stats, overs and unders, tennis. He got it all, man. You can catch him always on the Brown Bag podcast, man, every day. So what's up, Noops? What you got for us?
Well, I figured we talked about tennis last week. We'll do a quick check-in on that. Starting on the men's side, of course, the big news, Novak Djokovic not allowed to play the tournament, sent away from the Australian Open, kind of opens up the draw here. I mean, things get pretty interesting. Good news for our pick, Matteo Berrettini. But I'll start with you, Spread. Have you had a chance to watch any matches on the men's side? And, does your opinion really change at all, kind of what from we talked about? And really a question I'm going to ask both of you guys. Should we be betting Medvedev to win this tournament at plus 150? I'm seeing that number still floating around. I'll start with you, Spread. What do you think?
I'm going to still stick with Zverev, and my idea is it's easier to hedge with that number. He's around plus 310 still, which surprised me because I thought when Novak didn't play that number would move. I guess the bookmakers knew before us, right? Because without that line move, I'm like, boy, they must be plugged in there with Craig Tilley and Australia to figure it out. So my preference is still is Zverev there just because of the easier hedge potential. And I got a question for you. Have you watched? So Berrettini has been playing good, and I loved your pick when you gave it out here last week. He did take a match time out in his first round match. Are we a little concerned about that?
Yeah, and never a great thing, but he looked okay after that. He has day offs in between matches, so that mitigates my worry a little bit. I like what you said about Zverev. Again, at 3-1, that's a pretty solid number. I do still think he's got a little tougher draw, though. I'm really not sleeping on Nadal, who kind of looks better as each of these matches go on, and then Zverev will have to go through whoever it is, Berrettini, Alcaraz, whoever kind of comes out of this first quarter. But, Andre, it sounded like you like Medvedev, again, at plus 150, pretty much his pre-tournament price. I think there's some value in that. How about you?
Well, actually, I like him and Zverev. That's the two. No one's going to touch those two guys, even Nadal, that, because when it comes to hard course, it's just not Nadal's thing. He's just not his thing, man. How many Australian Opens he won his career? One, right?
I'll have to go back and look. I think it's just one.
Yeah, I believe one. I believe he won only one. So he's not a hardcore guy, so especially with that one with the speed, and then he's, getting up in age. But he does have a favorable draw to actually make some noise, this year. And you can never count on him. He's a veteran. So, it's always a good investment anytime you're getting a future on top 3 greatest all time. He's definitely one of the GOATs, so it's always a good investment. But I'm more with spread. I'm already a big Sasha fan. I think Zverev it's just his time, man. It's time for him to win a Grand Slam, man. He's been, getting close. He has him and Medvedev, I believe, are 6-6 against each other head to head. They're pretty even, right?
Something like that.
It's a real battle. They're the next thing, I feel like they're the next two. They're gonna have a little run over the next 3-4 years after the older guys start to fade out a little bit more, where it's gonna be between them for 1 and 2 every year. And why not a good time for Zverev to get started now? As you said, spread it's much easier to hedge on that number. So I'd back both of them, actually, because I think at the end of the day you'll end up winning both ways, because they would match up in the finals, So definitely both you guys sides are good, and I like both players, Zverev and Medvedev.
It's good to see the men's. Yeah, it's good to see the men's side open up a little bit. Now on the women's side spread, I heard you talk about adding a net Kontaveit. I liked kind of your reasoning there. I maybe don't love her quite at the price, but again, if she continues to play tennis like she has the last couple of months, there's definitely a chance she can rip through this field. Was there anything else that stood out to you on the women's side?
I still like Badosa as well. It's kind of interesting since we've talked. Kontaveit's price went up and Badosa's went down, which is why I stayed away from Badosa. She's dropped a little bit, so obviously bookmakers are pretty impressed with what they've seen so far, and deservedly so. All court game, plays well with the speed, and she ended the season so strong. You definitely have to give her credence here. So she would be the next player that I would look at besides Annette Kontaveit.
Yeah, I like Badosa too, man. Badosa's tough. She's coming to becoming very she's like growing into her prime right now, man. She's really playing well. I like her team. Since she's one of the ladies who's done well since she's gotten a boyfriend. Her boyfriend really encourages her. He's at every game. He seems like a guy. I don't know what he does. I haven't ever gotten into what his background is or anything, but he seems like he's very into her winning, man, and supporting her. And she seems so fit, man. She's has an unbelievable body, man. She's fit. She's so fit, man, and she's ready to go. However many sets and games it's going to take to win, and she has a tough mental. As I said before, she doesn't do anything overly great, but she does everything well. So she's definitely a very solid player that's moving straight up in the rankings, man.
All right, good check-in on tennis, and I thought it would be fun to kind of change gears a little bit and talk in general about one of my favorite player prop markets and something that'll be fun this weekend. First touchdown scorer spread. I know it's something that you get into from time to time. Andre, do you have any experience betting the first touchdown scorer market?
Not seriously, not seriously enough. I've done it before for Super Bowls, for fun. What's your theories on it? I know that you bet them a lot. How do you really go about making one that's really a pick that you feel comfortable about.
Yeah, it's a tough market overall. I mean, anytime you're betting into a prop market like this, it tends to be kind of a high juice or high vig market, if you will. Just means, the pricing overall, if you take the break even probability, is much greater than 100. But if you start to look at it, I think this is a market, like you said, Andre, a lot of people, when they look at kind of some games and they're looking for some fun things to do, kind of bet these markets. And books really price them more for protection rather than kind of for probability, if you will. So, you look at the top of the market, for example, we'll start with the Cincinnati Bengals Tennessee Titans game. No surprise to anybody, sitting at the top of the list is Derrick Henry, even though we haven't seen him play football in months, and Joe Mixon. I make no complaints about that. Honestly, we know how much work Derrick Henry is going to get. We know how much work Joe Mixon is going to get. But should Derrick Henry really be 4-1 to score the first touchdown? Should Joe Mixon really be 6-1 to score the first touchdown? So as you start to go through the list, I find that there are certain players for each team that maybe don't get a lot of targets throughout the game, from between the 20s. But once you get closer to the end zone, teams have red zone packages. They run different plays down there. Defenses change. They put more focus on some of those bigger guys. I mean, one of the amazing parts about a player like Davante Adams is even though they know they're going to throw the ball to him and he's in triple coverage, he still catches it anyway. But that's not how it works for some of these guys, even that they're kind of priced this way. So in this particular game, you try to look for different positions. And the one that sticks out here to me, and I find value in this spot every single week, is the tight end position. And I'm just going to ask you a question. I mean, do any of you guys know who Jeff Swaim is?
Only from doing DFS. He would be like a value play for some of those guys.
He's is a tight end on the Tennessee Titans.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And he is somebody, he scored the first touchdown twice this season. Again, doesn't get a lot of targets, but you look at it in terms of red zone targets, he gets 10% of targets inside the 20, 12% of targets inside the 10, which is, top 3, top 4 on the Tennessee Titans, full season, depending on you look, kind of through past things like that. So somebody like Jeff Swaim, you can find him. I'm looking at 30-1 right now at some of the places that open. Things like that look really good. The other spot that I like, and let me see if this game particularly, quarterbacks. Another spot that's a little bit loose, I find from time to time, is quarterback scoring. You don't really think about it too much outside of guys that are obviously running, but quarterbacks score a lot of touchdowns. As I start to look at it, I'm going to ask you guys a question, and I'll start with you, Spread, because again, I know you're a little more tapped in with some of the daily fantasy stuff. How many rushing touchdowns has Ryan Tannehill scored this year?
My guess would be 7.
Andre, do you have a guess?
Yes, he's up there. I've seen him do he stole LT celebration. I see him doing it all the time.
So Spread's in there with a guess of 7.
I'll say 5.
5. All right, Spread. Well done. You're probably cheating and looked it up. It's exactly
no, I
7 touchdowns. That's the second year in a row, by the way. He had 7 rushing touchdowns last year for the year before. It's something you don't really think about. And again, you look at the odds here. He's 18-1. He's had the first touchdown scored this year. I believe he has it at least once, possibly twice. You look at opportunities inside the red zone and sitting down there, I believe second, again, sometimes third, depending on what period you look at. And the Titans in red zone rushing is Ryan Stinkin' Tannehill. So it's start to look at quarterbacks, start to look at tight ends. Again, I start to look at some of the other games, the Green Bay Packers game. I mentioned Davante Adams. He's really tough. But look at some of the guys from San Francisco, a guy like Brandon Ayuk. You think of George Kittle, you think of Deebo Samuel, you think of all the running backs there. But the most red zone targets for anybody on San Francisco is Brandon Ayuk, and he continues to be around, 20-1, depending on where you look. The next guy kind of floating around there, Jawan Jennings. I think we saw him get a first touchdown the other week. He's always a great value there. You look at the Rams-Tampa Bay game.
What about Juszczyk?
Yeah, Juszczyk's interesting. He doesn't get a lot of work. I mean, he's more of a matchup guy. So, what I'd really ask you there, Andre, as you look at that game, do you think that's a game where Shanahan is going to try to make more use of him? It's hard for me to figure out week to week. There are some games he just comes out and blocks, and then other weeks, he gets like the first 3 or 4 targets in the red zone. So, how do you think Shanahan might use a guy like Juszczyk this week? Excuse me.
He'll definitely get some plays because he's going to try to isolate the Packers linebackers on him and on Deebo. A lot they struggle in coverage. They, as you guys know, the Packers have great defensive backs, but their linebackers struggle in coverage. But going back to that first game that you was talking about on Cincinnati and Tennessee, you said the tight ends, but my favorite tight end would be the tight end for Cincinnati to score first. They scored first in the last game, and it's been hot lately. Is it Uzma? Is that
CJ Uzama.
Uzama, excuse me,
Yeah.
Uzama.
Yeah,
He's from
Uzama.
Auburn. I remember from college. He was
Mhm.
balling at Auburn too. He used to play at Auburn. He was good too. Yeah, I like him a lot. And what's T
Higgins?
T Higgins.
T. Higgins. Yeah, the market's caught up with T. Higgins. He's kind of single digits everywhere. Again, wide receivers and running backs are tough. I still find some values in wide receivers. Now, here's an interesting question. Who is second on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in terms of percentage of targets inside the red zone?
Cameron
Chris
Brate.
Chris Godwin's number one.
Oh,
Who
it's
is second
Gronk.
again?
It's
Cameron
Gronk.
Brate. Cameron Brate.
Really?
Easy. Cameron
Andre
Brate.
is correct.
Oh, good one.
I've
Cameron
been on
Brate
Cameron
is
Brate for
not
years on
particularly
DFS.
close.
For years, I've been on Cameron Brate for DFS. He's a great cheap buy all the time, and he scores touchdowns. Noops.
17% of targets inside the 20, 15% of targets in the 10. But again, he doesn't get priced like that. He is a great name to look for week to week. You look on the Rams side of the ball, kind of similar question. Who is second in the Rams in terms of targets? Number one, of course, is Cooper Kupp. He gets priced pretty accurately. He's fun to use in kind of same game parlays. But who's behind Cooper Kupp on the Rams in terms of red zone target spread?
My guess is because it's been a tight end themed show so far, Tyler Higbee.
You hit the nail right on the head. Richard Higbie's sitting there. And again, he continues to be priced behind Beckham and guys like that. It's just that's what you got to do. Kind of pull up things for each team. Let me pull up the last game.
What's Sony Michel on first touchdown?
Let me see. Sony Michel. Again, odds are slowly coming out. They're not quite everywhere yet. Sony Michel's been a good one. He gets a lot of attention.
Cam Akers is back. So since Cam's back, it might still make one kind of split it,
Yeah, 15-1 on Sony Michel is what I'm seeing.
That's a great number. That's a great number. You get a pass interference on Beckham. You know what I mean? You get a pass interference on Beckham deep. They hand it off because they're going to give it to Michel by the end zone.
He's a great play every week. You look at the last game, Buffalo, Kansas City. Of course, it's Diggs. Of course, it's Tyreek Hill. I'll save you the time this time. Dawson Knox is just great. His price is starting to come out. But as you start to look at some of the wide receivers for Kansas City, one of my favorite guys, Mecole Hardman, gets over 15% of the targets inside of the 15, 15% inside the 10. And we know he returns punt touchdowns and stuff. He's just a great target week to week. So that's a little bit on first touchdown score. Was there any other names that stuck out to you guys in games that you wanted me to look up quickly before we wrap?
No, I had a question for you, and I don't know if you know right off the bat, but so you're doing this all off red zone targets, and I'm assuming the value isn't there because people are thinking of long touchdowns like Jamar Chase, right? It's because he's going to score a 50-yard touchdown more likely than a red zone touchdown, right? How many of the first touchdowns are actually red zone touchdowns and not like big plays? And I'd be curious.
That's a great question. And I should know the answer to that. I do not. I will say I think that's a great thought. You're right. People think a little more poetically and a little more kind of like they're playing Madden football about some of this stuff. And, again, it's some of the guys at the top from time to time, they're priced with value, but some are not. I will say, Spread, though, I look at the red zone targets. And then another good thing is to look at kind of matchups. Again, this week, you look at the Bengals. They give up a ton of touchdowns to tight ends. Quarterbacks, the Chiefs are great. I mean, you do really well betting quarterbacks to score rushing touchdowns against the Chiefs. I don't know what it is that they're doing out there, but you look for kind of patterns like that and things like that. But I would start there with the market. Again, I know your heart and your kind of brain, you'll look at the list and you'll start with the running backs and best wide receivers for each team, but kind of start in the middle of the list and work your way out.
All right.
I like Gabe Davis too, Noops. I like Gabe Davis and also Devin Singletary for the Bills to score first.
Yeah, Gabe Davis is another good one. He's third in the Bills in terms of target percentage, and he's been shooting up the list. He continues to get more and more work. And if he's off, you start to look at some other guys. Isaiah McKenzie gets a lot of work, and Cole Beasley's another sneaky one there as well. So, yeah, those are all good names to look at for this weekend.
Nice. Spread, do you got any totals that you like this weekend on NFL or any of the games, either overs or unders?
No, you hit the one that we liked, and I think that's going to be a real popular one. So I would say if you're going to jump in on that Chiefs Bills, do it right now. I can't see anyone really like rushing to the window to bet that under, right?
Right.
So I like that over there, but the rest of them, I think this is a really tough week. I thought, last week we had a lot of mismatches. These are 4 great matchups, and I think it's going to be, especially from a fan's perspective, just a much higher quality weekend of football.
Yes, indeed. You got anything else for us, Noops?
No, I'm good. I was just listening to the show earlier. One of the privileges of getting to be on, I get to listen to it while it's happening. I'm glad you guys came to accordance on the Bengals. I was really worried that you guys were going to back the Titans. I think the Bengals is a look this week. You have a Titans team that I think is being overrated because of Derrick Henry. Again, it's always good to go against those teams that are coming in cold here. I hate to do the team of destiny thing, but like Burrow, it just looks unstoppable. There's something about his ability in those big moments, how comfortable he is. And I love the way the coach keeps throwing. At the end of games, they don't run the ball. As good as Mixon is, they'll drop back, spend 5 guys wide, and just let him pick off 3 and 4 yard throws over and over and over again. I know you guys know this, and everyone does betting the NFL. There is nothing more frustrating than holding the ticket on a team with a lead and watching them run over and over again on 1st and 2nd down and try to compete 3rd and 7s while the other team's running it back over and over again. So I just love that Bengals team, and I just think they're going to keep winning until they don't.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. A lot on all those points, Noops. I was just telling Spread that it's Joe Burrow's team, and I like how their coach. They have one of the best running backs in the league, and everyone's falling in line, including Joe Mixon. It's like, hey, whatever you say, Joe, let's do it. And when you have that type of belief going behind a player, and he shows it not only in his play and his moxie, but also with his practice. That's why he had so much control at the line. His dad was one of the best defensive coordinators in the MAC, long-time high school coach. The kid's a coach's son, so you already know he lives and he eats and he sleeps football. So he's able to make so many changes as a young kid at the line. He did the same thing at LSU, and the worst thing that the league could do was put him and Jamar Chase together, man. They go together like peanut butter and jelly, man. Wonderful combination. They know each other's next move, and they're really friends off the field as well. And it shows on the field when they play together. We appreciate you coming, Noops. It's always great to see you, man. The only person with as much swag as Joe Burrow, my guy Noops, man. Hey, man, tell the people where we can catch you at daily, man, on your podcast.
Yeah, make sure you follow me on Twitter at _Noops. Everything flows through there. I am the co-host of Brown Bag Bets, which is at 11:30 Eastern every single day. You can find that on YouTube. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm a guest on the Bet US NBA show. Just cover NBA for a solid 30, 40 minutes, get into our picks every single day. But again, it's all there on Twitter at _Noops.
All right, y'all go follow my guy Noops. We'll talk to you next week, Noops, later, bro.
See you guys.
All right, guys, let's go and segue into the ball and parlay segment. Last week we got you guys paid with Kansas City minus 12.5 and the Bills minus 4, and we parlayed them. And then earlier in the segment, we also gave you guys the Niners plus 3. We're going to try to go 2-0 again this week. And as my guy Noob said, my pick is the Bengals plus 3.5. The Bengals are rolling. You got to believe in Joe Cool, man. Right now, they seem like a team of destiny. More than that, they're a team that's together right now. As Noob said, Tennessee will be a little off this week, I think, because you know how teams do when they come off a bye week. It's never good to have a bye week. I don't expect Derrick Henry to be the Derrick Henry that everyone has seen all season. A lot of people don't know that Cincinnati actually has one of the better defensive run defenses in the league. They're ranked 5th. They're only giving up 102 yards per game. The last time the Bengals and the Titans faced off last year, the Bengals pulled an upset, defeating the Titans 31-20. The Bengals just have a team that's going to be very difficult for Tennessee to blow out. And the reason why is because of their style of play. Tennessee only averages. They're the 13th worst team in the playoffs out of all the playoff contenders, all the people who were eligible for playoffs. They were 13th team in net yards per play. And they're 10th out of the 14 teams in net success rate, which means that they're one of the lower teams left in the league in getting yards per play. They also, when it comes to the net success rate, it breaks down to on first down, can you get at least 50% of the first down? Second down, can you get at least 70% of the first down? And third and fourth, can you get 100% of the first down? They're one of the lowest ranked teams left in the playoffs in that. They live off big plays. They live off of Henry breaking long runs. They play solid defense, but they've had problems against the pass all year. Look at the Texans just now. What the Texans did to them with a mediocre passing game, a rookie quarterback threw the ball all over on them and was able to creep within the number at the end of the game. Right now, they're 25th against the pass. I'm sure that Joe Burrow and his crew of receivers are chomping at the bits to get at Tennessee. I expect a big game from them both. As long as they keep Burrow pretty clean, I expect Cincinnati to keep this game close all the way to the fourth quarter. So my pick for this week is Joe Burrow, Joe Cool, LSU Tiger, LSU Ohio. The Cincinnati Bengals plus 3.5, guys, at the Tennessee Titans. I'm rolling with the hot team, the hot quarterback, and the great leader against a team that's a little bit overvalued and that's coming off of a bye week that is never good for professionals. They need to keep their bodies going, keep rolling. And once again, this is Derrick Henry's first game back. So he has to have time to adjust. So the easy bet for me is Bengals plus 3.5. What you got, Spread?
Yeah, all right. And we laid it last week, right? We laid a big number with the Chiefs, and you were real happy to lay 4 points with the Bills. But what did we kind of identify there? There were some mismatches in that first round, right? And hey, they weren't the most exciting games, right? Because we did identify that. I do not think that's the case this weekend. And so that's the reason that we're both looking to take points, right? You're grabbing the 3.5 with the Bengals. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee won and didn't cover that number, right? You know, I talked about it earlier with the Chiefs and the Bills. I said, pick the winner there. Not so fast here. Now we've moved past that key number of 3 at 3.5. Right? There's a good chance that you're sitting there like you were with that 49ers plus 3. And you said, hey, we're not sure who's going to win the game, but we're going to cover regardless. And I think the 49ers might be in that situation again this weekend. Let's go ahead and look at their ability to match up with the Green Bay Packers. And the reason they've won the last 3 times they matched up in the playoffs is 49ers. You know, it's so funny, right? They're out here in wine and cheese country, right? They're right. Fans, right? You know, they don't really have, you're not like the Raiders fans, right? Let's put it that way. But this is a tough team. This is a tough team that plays 1980s football. They beat you on the line of scrimmage, right? And I think that, you know, they knew early in that game that these Cowboys don't want it, right? They didn't want out the line of scrimmage on either side of the ball. And if you watch when they went to the Super Bowl in 2019, right, Jimmy Garoppolo only threw the ball 7 times. Why is that? Because they were able to get success running the ball. And Kyle Shanahan wants to establish the run. I know that he gets so much credit for being young, for being innovative, right? But he still sticks to the basic fundamental of the game. Win the ball at the line of scrimmage, right? These big offensive linemen, they don't want to go backwards all game. They want to go forward. They want to hit people, right? They don't want to be worrying about swim moves and bull rushes. They want to bull rush their opponents. Kyle Shanahan gives them that opportunity by dialing up run plays. What does that do? It gets the linebackers moving forward, gets the safeties moving forward. That's why he has, you know, an above average quarterback, Jimmy G, that keeps winning. The guy keeps winning 32-15 now as the starting quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. Can't deny those numbers there. I love it there. And we're catching 6 points. We're catching 6. This number should have been 3 tops. So, I mean, I think this was the biggest line that the bookmakers messed up with this weekend. I got the tougher team. I have the better offensive line, have the better defensive line. What am I worried about? Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I am worried about that, right? But that's why these 6 points, right, are so critical and valuable when it comes down to the end of the game. Rodgers can give us a game-winning drive, but, you know, to do that, he's going to have to win by over a touchdown. I do not see the Green Bay Packers and them being able to go ahead and just dominate from start to finish. I think the Niners get out to the lead, and even if the Packers do win, it's going to be a last-second drive, and we're still going to cover the bet. So we're both taking points here. You like the Bengals 3.5. I like the Niners at +6.
Yes, and I agree with you a lot on that bet. That's going to be one of the ones I'm actually going to give out on 97.5. I'm actually giving out both of these 2 tomorrow, and I'll break it down a little bit more with my guys on ESPN 97.5 Houston at the bench. You're all over it. Spread. The Niners are the toughest team right now. When you think about them, all you think about is physicality. You got Devontae Adams as a clear matchup advantage for the Packers. But besides that, when I think of the best players between on that game, I think Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, right? Then the rest of them are 49ers players.
Exactly.
That's all I go to. Trent Williams, Joey Bosa, Elijah Mitchell, Debo Samuel's probably the best player right now in the NFL to the fans. Fans really, if you ask fans around the league right now, in the last couple of weeks of everybody watching football for these playoffs and the weeks leading to the playoffs, they're going to tell you Debo Samuel's the best player in football right now. So you got him, you got Juwan Jennings that's coming on strong. Brandon Ayuk is a beast, and he's just now getting used to the speed in the NFL game, developing. And like you said, man, Shanahan draws these wonderful plays. These guys are wide open when he draws up these plays, and it's just up to Jimmy to be calm and hit them, and he's been doing a good job on that. What I do struggle with is in close games at the end of the game, sometimes just like what happened with the Dallas game, Jimmy makes some throws that he shouldn't make, and that's a problem. That's why they have to play from in front, and I expect them to do that, to get up early and make the Packers play catch up all day. So we definitely rolling with you guys. We want you guys to roll with us. I'm taking the Bengals plus 3.5, and spreads taking Niners plus 6. We want you to bet them straight, and we also want you to parlay them. 200 get you 500. And as always, we thank you for tuning in to the Wagering World. We'll see you guys next week. You can catch us both on Twitter. Catch my guy Spread at Spread Astaire. Catch me at 5 Star in Vegas. Spell out the 5. Tune in every Thursday and check us out. Pardon me, on Schoon TV. And sorry, man, I'm thinking about these games. I'm in the corner of my eyes. We're recording while I got a lot of money pitting on this Samsonova match. She just made a break, so I'm back in it. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, so we really do this for a living, guys. So, my attention's a little bit somewhere else right now. It's betting hour. So you guys tune in. We'll see you next week. Anything from Spread?
No, just thanks for having me on, and hopefully we have another great weekend.
Let's get it, guys. Peace.